Hello and welcome to this pick a card reading. My name is Gabby Turner, and first of all, be grateful that this is not smell-o-vision because I'm very sweaty, and that is just how it is. I feel like I smell like vinegar, which is a lot better than BO. The deodorant is keeping that smell away, thank goodness, but like I just feel like I emit like a smell of vinegar. I don't know what that's all about. But that's what it's been like recently for me. I keep smelling vinegar on myself, which is great fun. It's very hot as I'm recording this. At the tail end of June, it'll probably be maybe end of July or early August before this posts publicly because I do record in advance. But anyway, just thought I would share. Like you can see the sweat just glistening. But anyway, all right. We've got three options here, and we're going to be asking, how have you changed this person for the better? So how has your presence in this person's life? This can be a romantic interest. It can be someone platonic. We're not going to be specifically going into romantic themes here. So it can be anyone. Either, you know, right? But just setting that precedent here, because sometimes people get confused why I'm not always talking about romantic themes in every reading. I try to make it explicit, but I understand also like not everybody listens to the full intro. I try to put it in the title to make it obvious, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But anyways, we have three options here. Option number one is Larimar. Option number two is Libyan gold Tektite, and option number three is Lepidolite. So I'm going to have timestamps listed below with the names of the gemstones. I'm also going to hold it up closer and try to focus it real good for you. And just take a moment to decide which options or options are reaching out to you. Especially if you're watching for more than one person, more than one reading might call out. And in some cases, even for the same person, you might get information and insights from more than one reading. And then there are times when none of the readings are really the reading for you, so you just kind of have to stay grounded there and in touch with reality and not just expect absolute truth to come from every random pick a card reading that you watch. But I do hope that there are helpful insights for you here if possible. And with that said, I will see you at your reading. Okay, group one, you chose the Larimar. I love this stone. It's one of the most beautiful, calming, serene stones. And on the back, the key phrase here is slow your roll. So, I mean, that just kind of highlights primarily the influence you've had on them. You've caused this person to slow their roll, to be a little bit more calm. And I do have a little bit of channeling, and then we're going to get into the tarot. You brought calm to their inner storms. You helped them to open their heart and trust in emotional vulnerability. You helped them feel seen and accepted, finally, which has helped them to heal certain wounds. So you have seen this person in a way that they had not been seen before you came along, and it had a calming influence in them. Like they had a sort of inner turbulence. I've pulled here a little spread, which I'm going to hold up, some cards to represent where they were at before you came into their life, a card to indicate you and your influence, and then some cards to indicate who they are after your influence in their life. So initially they are the Ace of Cups, the Five of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles. So, I mean, this is someone who has a big heart. They have a lot of love to give. They always have. That has always been true of them. But there was this sort of inner emotional turbulence. So I feel like there were lots of stormy waters in their heart. I think also this is someone who was looking for a grounding influence from a woman. We have the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like this is what they were seeking, and that this person was constantly willing to give their heart to that kind of person. They were constantly willing to give their heart to someone who would represent this, because I feel like they didn't have this type of energy very strong in their life. I feel, this is just me channeling now, not just reading the direct literal interpretation of the cards, but like I feel like this person's actual mother or whoever raised them and was supposed to be a maternal force, they were a maternal force for them, but this person represented a lot of chaos and upheaval. They never really knew what to expect from probably their mother, but again, it could have been like whoever was taking care of them, some sort of maternal caretaker figure, made them feel always uncertain of things. They loved their mother, right? And maybe still love their mother if their mother's still living. But they didn't feel like they had that sort of rock of support. And I think that because of that, they were always falling in love easily or making friends too quickly with anyone who might represent that sort of solid, I can count on you energy that they didn't get from their own mother. Now you come in and you are the Six of Swords. So I'm feeling that you are someone who is on your own journey, and so you sort of inherently, with this, when it comes to this person at least, you have sort of boundaries. It's not like you're going out of your way to have boundaries with them specifically, but there's something about the vibe between the two of you that creates this energy of, you know what, I'm not going to sacrifice myself for anyone else, but I am, through my own process of moving forward and claiming a better life for myself, I help to influence and guide and support other people who are needing that. So I think what you represented to this person primarily is like a sort of kindred spirit of we both understand the need to heal, right? Because it's not like you were totally healed, right? You were in your own process of healing your own wounds. But it's like I feel like you're this person here and they're this like sort of timid little what is this, a leopard or something? You know, they were afraid of their healing journey. They knew that they needed it. They knew that, you know, some of the choices they were making were not working well for them. They were clinging on to anyone who, you know, seemed like they could potentially be a rock of support, but they were clinging, I think, and opening their heart too quickly. So it's not that they couldn't open their heart, it's that they had experienced so many times of opening their heart and just being plunged into absolute uncertainty again. So it's like the very thing that they were looking to amend, like, okay, my mom always made me feel this chaos and upheaval. They would find people along the way who seemed to represent that solidity, or maybe gave the false impression or even the illusion of, oh, I'm your safe haven. I've got everything you need. You'll always be safe and secure with me. And they fell for that time and again. You weren't giving that false promise. You were showing up as like, listen, I'm broken and I'm trying to heal myself. If you want to like hold my hand and walk along with me, as I also am in that process of self-improvement and self-discovery, you allowed them to feel less fearful. They knew that you weren't someone who was going to take away all pain. You weren't going to be able to you weren't giving an illusion of all of that, the false promises that I think, you know, some of these other people that they met were giving the illusion that they were going to be everything that this person ever needed. And nobody can be that to anyone else. It's not to say that a person can't embody, generally speaking, the Queen of Pentacles energy. I'm sort of channeling here now. These cards are just kind of triggering my insights, but yeah, you were a real one. You're like a real one who's also like a real broken one, just like them. But they saw that you were still putting one foot in front of the other as that broken one, and they're like, I think that that's what I'm doing too. It's not that they saw you as a savior. They'd been looking for a savior. They'd been finding people who kind of, whether they intentionally promised to be this person's savior and be their everything, or if it's just an assumption that this person had because that's what they needed so badly. But with you, they're like, oh, okay, we're parallel to each other. We're both broken. We're both trying to fix and amend ourselves and get better. And somehow doing it together is easier. It gives me a sense of peace. It's not that now I'm under this delusion that everything is perfect. I'm in the reality of, okay, I can keep putting one foot in front of the other despite the imperfect process of my healing journey and my journey to improvement, my journey to self-discovery. So who are they after meeting you, after your influence in them? It's funny that that initial message was slow your roll, force this person to kind of slow down and like look at life a little bit differently. But through doing that, we have the Wheel of Fortune here. You actually opened up more doorways of opportunity for them. Like they see the world more holistically. They feel more so that life has anything to offer them that they want to partake of, so long as they approach it with realism. 10 of Wands, right? The realism part of it is very helpful. They're not just going to like keep falling through holes that offer false promises. They see that there are many doorways, and if they approach it with reality and understand that life is not easy peasy and just a constant fairy tale, then they can actually take advantage of any opportunity in life that they want to take advantage of. Yeah, and even the 7 of Cups has to do with possibilities. I think what it is like, with your influence, they can sort of pause and emotionally collect themselves as they're considering their life choices and say, what's going to take me the furthest and actually bring me true happiness? We have the 7 of Cups paired with the Chariot card. Like, instead of just what's the easy fix, the promise of the easy fix, what is actually going to support me emotionally in a way that is sustainable and like emotionally healthy? So I don't just feel better in the moment and feel like everything is soft and cushy when it really isn't, but I can embrace the reality that life isn't completely soft and cushy, and yet still create momentum towards greater and greater emotional stability and to become emotionally healthier. So basically they're emotionally healthier. And I feel like, again, this is because you're coming through, I think you're emotionally healthier as well. I feel like this was a sort of equal exchange here. Anything else to say about this dynamic here between these two people? And what's interesting, we have some of the same cards coming out again. I think like where the two of you are now, the focus for them is definitely more on the Wheel of Fortune side of life. They've got a lot of opportunities available to them. I feel that you came into their life, you did have this influence, but it's like you're kind of like still, in a sense, you're still in the same place where you were before, because you're coming through still as the 6 of Swords. I would say that that's not a negative. I think what it indicates is that you are probably like the wounded healer archetype. You serve as a sort of guide to the healing of other people. Like, that is a continual part of your journey. So it's not that there's like a lack of wisdom or growth on your part. It's just there's a sense of continuity for you, that you are someone who has been wounded by life yourself. You haven't given up on creating healing for yourself. And in doing so, you show up to other people who also need to heal their own wounds. But the person you're asking about, they don't have, I don't think, that necessarily this life purpose of being a wounded healer exactly in the same way that you do. I think that their life purpose, which you have helped to open them up to, is to be someone who really is dazzled by the many opportunities that life can hold. Like, I do feel a sort of like larger than life access to doorways and opportunities that the average person would not find. But they wouldn't be able to take full advantage of these doorways if you had not told them or shown them, really, reflected to them how to face those opportunities realistically, right? King of Swords here is the shared energy between the two of you. You both come away from this with so much wisdom. You, continuing to be the wounded healer, you gain wisdom as you continue to express that life purpose. This person gains wisdom every time they implement, I'm going to take advantage of an opportunity and I'm going to do it realistically, knowing that it requires grit, hard work, determination, and not giving up. Any final thoughts for group 1? We have the Ten of Swords. I feel like some of you might still be grappling yourselves with some sort of major life, some sense of like life falling apart in some way with the Ten of Swords. And it's like this person is, you might be like, have just fallen into a ravine, so to speak, in your own life currently. And this person, because of the influence you have had on them, they're like this firework exploding into all of these opportunities. What are your spirit guides wanting to say to you about that? They do want you to know that you may sometimes feel or have felt that this person has abandoned you. There's a little bit of a feeling of abandonment. But this person has never forgotten you. They look over their shoulder all the time and are reminded of you. I think this is another thing that is interesting. There's a lot of mirroring going on between the two of you, because I feel like you both feel, in a sense, that you have been the one to be there for the other one, but you have also been the one needing help from the other one, right? So that, again, that mutual brokenness, but that mutual, like, I'm determined not to give up. Both of you at times have felt like you're at the bottom of your life, like you've hit bottom. And there may have been moments where you did feel sort of like, well, this person, when I was really at my lowest, they couldn't give me what I needed, right? But that's the whole purpose of your exchange with this person, is for both of you, I think, to kind of realize there's no one who can or is supposed to take away all pain, all misery, all hardship. But I do want to remind you that this person loves you just as much as you love them. You both have been in pain over your inability to be everything for each other. You both would like that, but I think you both also see the reality of that just isn't possible. That's not how life works. And that also is not even emotionally healthy. And you both inspired each other, I think, to be emotionally healthier. You know, to fall into that sort of codependent mindset of like, I can be the everything to someone. That's not healthy. It's not realistic. It's a delusion. It's an emotional delusion that makes us feel a little bit better in a moment and helps us to cope with things, but it's a falsehood. You know, nobody can be everything to anybody else. We all have to dig deep within ourselves especially if we're at a place in our lives where we've hit bottom. Nobody can pull us out of bottom. Nobody can do that. We have to, yeah, people can help us, they can inspire us, but like nobody can just pull us out of that. When we have hit rock bottom, it has to be a personal choice, or it's not going to happen. It just is not. In any case, group 1, that was an interesting reading. I hope that it was helpful and healing, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, group number 2, you chose the Libyan gold Tektite, and let's just see here what you have meant to this person. How have you changed their life for the better? So I'm gonna get into some tarot here, but first I want to start off with just this opening statement. You have ignited their confidence, helped them to step into their power. You have triggered a massive life shifts, and you have made them want to be the best version of themselves. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to pull some cards to represent who they were before you came into their life and served as this influence. I really feel like this person just, they just think the world of you. They could not think better of you, honestly. That's just something that's coming through. But let's look. Who were they before? And what's your influence primarily? And who are they now? Okay. I mean, I would say like life was going fairly well for this person even before you came into their life. They are represented here by the Chariot, the Six of Swords, and the Ten of Pentacles. I feel like this person was, not only were they going places in life, they had really achieved quite a bit for themselves. They had really established themselves in some way with this Ten of Pentacles. And it's like, I would say in a way, it's almost like they had peaked, but even though they had peaked, they're sort of maintaining that peak, right? So just as a metaphor, like if you're a bodybuilder and you're doing training on your muscles, you finally get to that place where you want to be with your muscle mass or whatever, then you have to maintain it, right? Like, or else it will go away. So this person had made, I don't know that for them it's necessarily has to do with bodybuilding. I'm just giving that as a metaphor. Maybe it's their career, maybe it's prestige, you know, like they'd climbed the ladder or something. But in any case, they were in a good place in life. They'd gotten to the top of some proverbial mountain, and now they're, when they met you or when you came into their life and started influencing them, they felt that they had gotten to a good place and they wanted to stay there. Like, let me maintain what I have achieved. Interestingly enough, what you represent, the influence that you represent most, is the Five of Cups. Okay, so that's interesting, because I do feel like this person thinks the world of you. Like, they could not think better of you, to be honest. But the Five of Cups is almost like they may have seen you as someone who got shortchanged in life, or definitely had not gotten to the top of the proverbial mountain yourself, right? Maybe someone who has experienced a lot of loss or grief. And who are they since you've come into their life? We're going to tie this all together. They are the Strength card, the Moon card, and the Six of Pentacles. I kind of feel like it's almost like you opened up their heart. It's not that they see you as a charity case necessarily, but like you allow this person to access a part of their heart that does want to give back to people who are less fortunate. I mean, that is a huge part of what the meaning of the Six of Pentacles is. It's like giving back to those in need. especially because this person is coming through as someone who like kind of had it made in life. Not given to them, right? They had to achieve it. They had to work for it. It wasn't just handed to them, but they had made the most of their life, and they're seeing you as someone who really, I think that they feel genuinely that you may have been shortchanged in life, or that you just had lost a lot that made it difficult for you to get where you wanted to be. But in any case, the Moon card and the Strength card, to me, I both associate them with heart-centeredness in different sorts of ways. The Strength card is sort of like our ability to have the courage to love, right? To have a brave heart, to be brave enough to love with our full heart, to stand up for love. The Strength card is a sort of heroic love, and the Moon card is about loving someone in the sense of like truly understanding them, like having that deep-seated empathy, that sort of intuitive connection to someone. Yeah, I feel like you opened this person's heart because it's like you inspired such a great degree of empathy within them. I want to go deeper with that because I feel like there's more. Yeah, we have the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Like, I feel like they see you as someone who, like, if you had not been shortchanged in life, or if you hadn't had, they don't view you as a victim, but they do feel that your life circumstances have definitely made it more difficult for you to reach your own potential. Yeah, I feel like they see you as, you know, maybe you've reached the level of the Page of Pentacles, but what you're capable of is being the Queen of Pentacles. They see you as someone who is hardworking, determined, you know, someone who doesn't give up, someone who is a hard worker, someone who's reliable and resourceful, who makes the most of what life has given them. You know, take the lemons and you make lemonade. They do see you as someone who, like, genuinely, I would say, like, has tried to make the most of what life has given you. And so that's why I think that's part of why, like, you haven't just given up to despair and be like, well, life gave me a bad set of cards, so I'm not even going to try or whatever. Like, they're like, no, Group 2, you never stopped trying. You're someone who's always putting in, like, hard work and effort to achieve your potential. You haven't gotten there, but it's not for lack of effort. It's because the circumstances have genuinely been quite difficult. Like, the odds have been against you. It's making me think of the Hunger Games, and, like, if you're familiar with the Hunger Games, like, Katniss is from, what is it? Whatever 13. I can't think of what they're called now. District 13, which is like Appalachia, basically. You know, like, it's sort of like a hard struggle life. You know, if she had been born into a different district, right? Like, how could she have been propelled much further, more and much faster in life than coming from the circumstances where she did come from? But I think that they see you as, this person sees you as very plucky, and it's almost like they wonder, Group 2, do you not even realize that the odds are stacked against you? Didn't someone forget to tell you? Because you act as though anything is possible, despite the fact that you were born into circumstances that would, by most accounts, like, really limit your life choices. Now this person, having achieved so much themselves as the King of Pentacles, sees you as this sort of like ingenue, or, you know, it's like they learn from your pluckiness, your grit, your determination. I think also they see you as, you know, the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords are both very smart. We saw a sort of studious nature of the Page of Pentacles represented, studious or scholarly here. Someone who wants to study and learn, who likes to read. And then with the Page of Swords, it's the intellect of curiosity. Someone who knows, even if they haven't seen other worlds, right? They haven't seen the world of maybe riches or whatever. Like, they know it's out there. Like, they know that there's something more out there and that they can access it. This is how they see you. You're not going to give up. If there's something that you have not had access to, but you want access to it, you don't see that there's any, there's a sheer determination that you have. Anyway, this person really admires that about you very much. I think that they also see you as someone who has been able to access things, but in a sort of roundabout, I don't know if I would say a sneaky way, but like not through the usual routes. Now this is reminding me of, in the movie Titanic, how Jack is allowed to access the world of the, I can't think of what they're would call it, like the rich people world of the Titanic. There are different classes, or I can't think of what the word is, but I don't think, yeah, first class, second class, third class, yeah, right? Like this person, they have gotten to a place where in some sense, and if this is not true, then this is not your reading, but like they are like first class in some sort of sense. So if it's about like, you know, I gotta close my windows, it's raining, hold on just a moment. So what I was saying is that if this is not a wealthy person, then apply this as it may be. Like maybe this is someone who has a PhD, right? Like, or they're the head of some church or something, or they're the head of some business, but they have gotten to the top of some mountain, right? So I'm just saying first class in a sense, you know what I mean? Like they've reached the zenith in some way. But they see you as someone who, like, the reason you believe that you can access things that normally, you know, normally we wouldn't think it. If you're familiar with the movie Titanic, we wouldn't think that someone like Jack, starting off third class or whatever, would be able to access the fancy side of Titanic, right? And yet he does. And I feel like this person sees you as, maybe it's that you've accessed knowledge, you know, it's also reminding me maybe of like Abraham Lincoln, who was self-taught. He may have not have had access to like fancy schooling or whatever, but like he still accessed that knowledge, right? You have been able to access something despite the circumstances that life has given you. And because of that, like you have this sort of like glowing inner sense of power. Now this person that you're watching this for, they're very impressed by this. They see the two of you as, in a strange way, on the same, they see you as at the same level of a hierarchy in a sense. Yeah, you may not have as much as them in some ways, or you have not achieved as much in some ways. But they're kind of saying like all things being equal, you do have just as much or maybe even more because it was so much more hard won. right? Each of these people, here he is the Wheel of Fortune, holding this wheel, has so many opportunities available to him. You know, he can do whatever he wants with his life, right? You may have to pick and choose a little bit more. We have you with the Ace of Pentacles, but like you have this also this glowing orb of possibility. And with the Suit of Pentacles, we have to apply our efforts. We have to be patient. We have to be determined. But again, these are all things that this person sees in you. They may have gotten some sort of lift in life. Maybe it's just luck. You know, a lot of times the Wheel of Fortune can represent good luck, or you know, someone gave us a hand up, or somebody gave us an opportunity or gave us a chance, or maybe they were just had better circumstances in their life in some way, so that doors had just always been more easily accessible to them. But in any case, this person has a lot of respect for you. I feel like basically, you know, one of the ways you have changed this person is you have opened their mind to what is possible. Like, they already knew that they had access to a lot of possibility, but seeing the way that you navigate life, like doing it in your own sort of cavalier, you know, like, I'm free, you have freed yourself. That's what it is. You have freed yourself to just go off on your sort of like, you know, vagabond Jack adventures. And, you know, they were doing things the quote-unquote right way, the expected way, and that worked for them. They climbed the mountain that way. But you have really opened their own mind about what is possible, not just for people in general in life, but what is possible for themselves. I think you put this person at ease. They appreciate their own circumstances more because they can compare how life has been for them to how life has been for you. And I think that they still are glad that they have their own circumstances. They don't want to have the more difficult circumstances. But you opened their mind to something that they kind of knew existed, but they couldn't exactly wrap their mind around it without meeting someone like you who truly embodied this spirit of life that you do, that I have described in this reading. Yeah, I think they were like, okay, maybe that type of person exists, but only as a character in a book or movie. You know, like, sure, there's Jack from Titanic, but does that type of person exist in real life? And then they met you and they're like, oh, okay, that person does exist in real life. Is there a Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games in real life? They're like, okay, yeah, group 2 is Katniss Everdeen. Group 2 is Jack from Titanic. But, so anyway, I feel like that is basically what I have to say here. That was a really interesting reading. This video so far has just been like so unexpected. And I think kind of eye-opening. So anyway, I hope that you got something helpful and maybe healing, insightful, etc. Something good out of this reading. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. All right, group 3, you chose Lepidolite. We've got the ambiance of the rain, which has come upon us just at the start of your reading. Well, it started a little bit during group 2, but now it's like hit a full downpour. So hopefully you can hear me okay over the rain. I think that you probably can. But I just want to say, so we're going to be trying to find out, like, how have you changed this person's life for the better? And I do have some information to start off with, and then we're going to get into the tarot portion of the reading. But a safe haven during chaos. It's interesting that we have a storm going on. It's not like a bad storm, but like a safe haven. You know, people seek shelter during rainstorms even, but you've soothed this person's anxiety during times of uncertainty and change. You are a grounding influence, and you always feel like home. And I was getting an insight for the two of you earlier when I was walking to the bathroom and back, looking at the ground. I feel like you are such a grounding influence for this person that literally the way that the ground looks, their memory of looking at the ground, someplace that they associate with you, someplace that they've spent a lot of time with you. It could have been the place where they met you, but definitely a place where they would strongly associate with you, group 3. The physical ground. This is how much of a grounding influence you are. Like, they have a visual memory of the very ground that the two of you walked together, that they associate with you, because you symbolize home and grounding and stability to them, like a safe haven, right? To that degree. Okay, with that said, I'm going to pull some cards to represent who this person was before you came into their life. One card to represent you and the influence that you represent to them, and then some cards to represent who are they after encountering you. So I will be holding these up. I'm just drawing them right now. So who is this person before you came into their life? We have the Magician, the King of Swords, and the Two of Wands. I think this is someone who loved conversation. They loved dialogue. They liked learning from other people. So just in general, like, this could be someone who's like kind of a chatterbox, I think. But they love conversation and the sharing of ideas, because I don't know, like they just had this feeling that not, you know, one person can't contain all knowledge or information. They feel that, I'm trying to make sure I have all the windows tightly closed. I think they are. I thought I felt like rain on the back of my neck, but I think it was just sweat because it is hot. But in any case, they like conversation. They feel like conversation elevates them, or this is, you know, this is their energy before they met you. So, but I would say, like, they were much more focused on that conversation being about, like, ideas and information, or, well, what does this person think? What's their perspective? What's their take? What do they know? Who do they know? That type of thing. When you came in, you represented the Knight of Cups. So I feel like they saw you as someone like who has a very sweet heart, who has a kind of like natural, like romantic sort of disposition to you, like a sort of dreamy, poetic quality. And then I'm clarifying this and I get the Sun card. So yeah, I was kind of already getting that, but like there's a sort of childlike way that you sort of embraced life. That's what that's how they see you and how you influence them. You light up the room. You light up my life. Have you ever heard that song, You Light Up My Life? So it's more of an emotional impact that you brought, and sort of like a mood boost. You know, it isn't just about the conversation, the ideas, what are we saying, the chatter, right? Now, the two of you may have engaged in a lot of chatter, a lot of dialogue, a lot of conversation. But what you represented was more about what was coming from your heart and from your spirit. You had a sort of enlivening quality. They just loved the way that you embraced life in a sort of artistic, beautiful, like always seeing the beauty in things. Sort of optimistic, right? Cheerful. Now, whether or not you see yourself that way, that's the impact that you had on them. So who are they now, following the influence that you have had in their life? This rain is so loud. I hope you can hear me. I'm trying to like shout. To me, the sound of the rain is very loud. I don't know how loud it's coming through in the recording, but anyway, so this is who they are because of your influence. The Queen of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, and the Chariot card. I feel like this is someone who has become very determined to make a life for themselves career-wise. Like they've really pursued monetary success. I think that's been a real strong influence, really. Like they felt like gaining more and more money through being really exceptional in their career. Exceptional in the way that they used money, approached money. It's still not clear to me exactly how you influenced this change, but I would say like they wanted to gain more money. After having met you, it propelled them into this overdrive of wanting to create almost like an emotional safety net for themselves through creating a financial net for themselves. Like those two things seemed intertwined. I think part of it may have been because they wanted to be able to provide a sort of a sense of safe haven or home to you in the way that you had represented that to them. Like they wanted to be able to say like, hey, I went out there, I conquered the world, you know, like, and now here's a castle that we can share together. Now, whether or not that the two of you have that castle now is a different story, but like I do feel like meeting you propelled them to get themselves financially to a place where they had a lot of money. The Seven of Cups can even be a sort of like building castles in the air. Like you helped them to sort of dream of the possibilities that they could provide a home and a sanctuary for you. Because you had represented that to them on such a great degree, on an emotional level. You made them feel a sense of home in terms of like a sense of free-spirited, carefree happiness, and that it was safe to feel those things in a way that they had not felt before. And it's almost like they want to pay that back, or they felt propelled to go out in the world and do something with their life to pay that back. Now, you know, like lots of things happen in our lives. They could have gone off to do that and eventually maybe they never tracked back around to you, you know what I mean? Or maybe they did, but they wanted to be able to support you somehow in a financial sense, because you represented a sense of home to them to such a great degree. The rain is calming down. Like I feel even now, like there must be some sort of pent up emotional energy that this person has in regards to you that is wanting to come out in this reading. So I'm going to ask more about that. Okay, now we've got the thunder. Yeah, this person, they got some energy they need to release as it relates to you. Some things that they're wanting to say in this reading. So I'm going to try to channel that for them. So we had the Page of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, and the Seven of Cups. I think this person did not feel good enough for you, and I think that sometimes they still do not feel good enough for you. But at the same time that they don't feel good enough for you, they don't feel worthy of you, they have felt inspired by you. It's like you have opened up ideas about who they could be that they would not have thought of without your influence. Like they feel that you saw something in them. You saw a potential for them, like, oh yeah, you could do this, you could do that, no problem. And they're like, really? You can see me doing that? So you inspired them to go after certain things in life, and I think especially financially related and or career related, that they would not have gone after otherwise. Before that, they would have seen themselves as small, like, well, let me just get like a normal job that pays the bills. It's good enough, right? With this Page of Pentacles, you challenged them, and I don't think that you were trying to challenge them. I think it's just you had these sort of grandiose ideas of what they could do, and in a sort of childhood naivety, you put that out there, like, oh man, you're gonna be this great such and such, like, oh man, I see you're just gonna do so great in life. You hyped them up because that's genuinely how you felt. Like, you weren't trying to hype them up, like that's just how you saw them. And they started to say, well, maybe I should try to do that then. Group 3 thinks I can do that, like maybe I should try actually to do it. You made them believe in a possibility for themselves that they hadn't even like realistically considered before. But at the same time, they don't feel like they're good enough for you. So what is that all about? We have the 8 of Cups. I think they don't feel good enough for you because I think in order to like become what you had seen them becoming, or like reach this potential for themselves, they may have, in a sense, had to leave you behind. Maybe it was in a literal sense, if they had to move away. Maybe it's just in an emotional sense, but in some kind of way they had to move away from you. And I don't know. I mean, I think that they have tried to replace you in some sense, like whether this is a friend or if it's someone romantic or whatever. Like, I think they have tried to replace you. With someone who they do feel they are good enough for. I mean, I think basically the thing that makes them feel that they're not good enough for you is that they left you behind. They feel that they caused pain, that they hurt you in doing that. And it's almost like they feel like that hurt that they caused can't be undone. And I feel like they almost feel like they have to sit with the pain that they have caused you, or that they perceive that they have caused you. They might be overstating it in their head. I don't know. But we have the Emperor and the Hermit. It's like for their whole life, they have to carry this heaviness of like, dang, in order to become everything that Group 3 believed in me as being capable of being, to do that, I had to leave them behind. I think they really feel like it's sort of unfair in a way. That life has been unfair to them. And it does make them feel very lonely at times. They feel lonesome without you. They wish sometimes that they had not gone on this journey. They wish that they had not sought to take this hero's journey and had to leave you behind, because they don't know how they're ever going to truly come back into your life on the same, and be able to be able to be side by side with you in the same way that they were at the beginning. Like, how do we even start that conversation again? How do we get back the same energy that we had? Because it was so simple and it was so easy before. The energy we had, it was just so natural, and now it seems almost like it has to be forced. But they're like, if we forced the energy, it wouldn't be the same. So there's a sort of catch-22 here. I don't know. I think right now there's almost like accepting defeat in terms of being able to truly reunite with you and share their life with you in the way that they did in the past. They've just kind of accepted change. It doesn't mean that it doesn't give them heartache, but they just feel like there's no way to reclaim all of that. The only way that they do reclaim it, though, is through their memories. They do revisit their memories of you. Of the Four of Wands, the Ace of Wands, they have so many happy memories of you, and I actually think that they love to tell the stories involving you. They share these memories with other people. Like, you're not privy to this, but they tell your all's stories that the two of you share, right? Like, you become almost part of this person's mythology. Basically, the igniting force of this person's mythology. You are a very important character in this person's life. Yeah, they tell these stories about you. I think they may have even written some of them down, but I think they've told them to people with their voice, right? Like, let me tell you this thing that, happened with me in group 3. It was great. It was the best day of my life, or one of the best moments of my life. I need to tell everyone about it. But I feel like also they may have documented it in some way. If this person is a writer, or even if they just write for themselves, like journaling or writing a diary or something, like they've written down some of these, they've tried to record them in some way. These memories, people can record things in different ways. Like, it could be an audio recording of them telling the story, but for a lot of them, it's just that they've written it down. Also, it could be some sort of photograph collection, so that's also a way of documenting memories, but the memories are documented because they want to be able to revisit these memories. I think that, for this person, they have to revisit their memories of you in order to help realign themselves, or like keep themselves grounded. Like, remember where I came from. I want to remember where I came from before I knew. Before group 3 told me what I could be. Before group 3 hyped me up. I want to remember who I was back then, so I can be reminded of my potential. So that was a real turning point in their life. Just having you have that optimistic, uplifting belief in them. Belief in all of who they could be. Beautiful belief in their potential. It has meant so much to them. I think that you know, this person has been able to accomplish a lot with their life, and they never take it for granted. And part of that is because of the memories they have of you that remind them of where they started and where they've come from since then. They're like, I can never take anything for granted. I don't even want to take my own achievements for granted. Like, they know that their own hard work and effort is what has ultimately got them to where they are. But they also know, like, I wouldn't have put in the hard work and effort if Group 3 hadn't told me that I could do it. If Group 3 didn't see me crossing the finish line, I wouldn't have even started training, right? So it's not like they're giving the credit all to you. They know they put in a lot of hard work. But they put in the hard work because you believed in them. And that has meant the world to them. And that's why you will always be, you know, this sort of safe haven to them. You will always represent to them, I can achieve whatever I set out to achieve because Group 3 believed in me. That's how I know it. And I proved it. They knew it for me, and then I went out there and proved them right. And now I continue to know that if I put my effort towards something, I can do it. And so that's the continued impact that you have on this person's life. Just believing in them in such a happy, positive, kind of like a Pollyanna sort of way, you know, going back to the original cards that represented you to them, the Knight of Cups and the Sun card. Like, you're just like, yeah, of course you can do this. Wow. You know, like, you're going to be doing such amazing things. It's so wonderful. And they chose to believe you, and they chose to put their efforts into fulfilling your belief in them, and they did. And so, yeah, I mean, this person loves you. You know, again, regardless of whether this is romantic or platonic, or maybe it's some sort of mixture of both, right? Because sometimes it's like that, especially if it's like a friend, you know, or a former lover who maybe you don't feel exactly that way about, but you still love each other. Anyway, this person has a lot of love for you. They have always loved you. They will always love you. That love for you is never ending. So that's where I'm going to leave this reading. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.